My surgery and V's death and my brain and my emotions will always be tied together. That I can have this, baby. Nobody else you. Nobody else makes you. Nobody else. Hey y'all, hey. Welcome and welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tiffany. I am a full-time mental health and substance abuse therapist bringing you food, lifestyle, and mental health content. Look, I'm already anxious. So today I wanted to make a video about the fact that I am now officially 1 year post-op from my surgery that I colloquially call my BBL. And it has also been 1 year since my friend's, to me, untimely passing. I say to me because it's never untimely in God's eyes. So first, let me start off by saying that my surgery and my friend, we call her V, my surgery and V's death and my brain and my emotions will always be tied together, because prior to me getting surgery, I was talking about it with her throughout the entire process because she was trying to conceive. So we were talking about some of our shared experiences, the highs, the lows, some of the intimate details of things that we were going through. And then she passed when she was 8.5 months pregnant. So I never got to tell her that my surgery was actually scheduled because she passed about 2 months prior to my surgery date. So I never got to experience that with her. Like I said, those two things will forever be kind of welded together in my brain. So I wanted to share what has been going on now that I'm 1 year post-op, and I will be talking about my friend's passing and what that means as far as like mental health, how I experienced that, and etc. So first, as far as my body is concerned, my insides feel pretty much normal. And I do say pretty much because I have noticed, like, when I do like an intensive like leg days, every now and then I get a like gluteal spasm or pain that I think is my bladder, not sure. But that doesn't have to happen too often, but that's something that I've been experiencing. And when it came to like surgery, even months after surgery, it was painful to insert a tampon. So I have actually grown more comfortable wearing pads. Now I don't like pads. I don't like wearing no diaper now. So I'll wear it around the house and on the first day. But out in public, I try not to. But tampons don't hurt inserting anymore. But for a few months, it was uncomfortable. So with that being said, if a tampon was uncomfortable, then sex was a little bit uncomfortable as well. Now, Bay and I waited until about 8 weeks. Well, not about, it was 8 weeks post-op for sex, even though you're cleared usually around the 6-week mark. Baby, it was not fun. But also, we didn't go to Pound Town either. So don't expect to, you know, truly get your rocks off for the first few months. It will be painful for penetrative, is that a word? Penetrative, or sex that involves penetration, okay? Anything else? Have at it, girl. Mentally, it feels nice to know that I no longer have 31 tumors inside my body. And also I feel more comfortable wearing certain clothes, because there were dresses and outfits in my closet that I bought that I did not feel comfortable wearing because my uterus was so large. But now that the fibroids are gone, baby, I'm back to flat. So it's nice to be able to feel comfortable in my clothing again. Like, I don't understand how women just walk around with bellies that were bigger than mine and they're just like, oh well, and for people to constantly walk up to you and be like, oh, congratulations when you're not pregnant. Like, luckily, people on the outside couldn't tell. I just knew, right? So I don't know how people be walking around with like watermelon-sized tumors. No, thank you. Now, when it comes to like my friend's death, I had experienced death, like grief, once before when my grandfather passed. And I say once before, meaning like for me, because that was the closest person to me that I had to grieve. And in that grieving experience, it wasn't long lasting. For me, it was relief because my grandfather had been sick for a bit and my dad and his siblings were taking care of him. So I was grateful that my dad no longer had to carry that burden. And because my grandfather was older, right? Like that's the natural order of things. But with V's death, it was a complicated grief because of course I was going through my fibroid situation. We were close in age, very similar experiences. She was a counselor, therapist, and professor because she was Dr. V. Boo. So like our life just kind of mimicked one another. And I think that that's what also complicated the grief a little bit more, was because we were so similar. She was a therapist, she was a foodie, she ran 5Ks with me, like everything was similar. And I think that because of that, it made me grapple with my own mortality. And, you know, leading up to the surgery, like the day of the surgery, like I just broke down and told the doctor, hey, my friend died when I was 8.5 months pregnant and was just crying. And they just wheeled me off, put the mask on me immediately and knocked me out because I was just anxious. What I've noticed in my own personal life now that she's passed is that I project, I don't know if it's I would say like my gratitude and my grief onto other people. So like when I am in the midst of like beautiful connections, right? Like family functions or with friends, I might be slightly pushy when it comes to getting pictures or hugging one another. And I say slightly pushy, like example, like my husband doesn't like taking pictures. It's just not his thing, but he will always take a good picture of me. But like at a family function, like I really wanted him and his brothers to like get a good picture for his mom, right? But I think that at the very core of it, it was really for me, and that's not fair. Or like leaving my line sister's wedding, I really wanted my sorors to hug when they were departing from one another because they were just like adamant about, you know, like we don't hug, blah, 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 see you next week. And that's not fair for me to put my own stuff onto people. Albeit good intentions, not harmful, but it's not their responsibility, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I have noticed since my friend's passing. I will say that since V died, or, you know, after she passed, I didn't know how I wanted people to show up for me. And I'm not gonna say whether or not I believe that people showed up for me in a good way or that they didn't show up enough, because what I think is that grief is an odd emotion and no one knows what to do. I have found that connection is most important for me. Now, granted, my love language is quality time, so it just becomes even more enhanced when I'm grieving. But I believe that true, authentic connection was most important to me. So, I have to, you know, be mindful of how I share this information. What I don't think is helpful is constantly getting "are you okay" text messages, because I think that the obvious answer is that I'm not okay. I felt like I had lost a good friend, and it was coming only 2 years after losing 2 of my childhood best friends. So I was not okay, and I'm still not okay. But I think that people do the best with what they can, and I am also a judicious sharer. I am a closed open book. I do not mind sharing my life experiences to a certain extent. So I don't think that I gave people an opportunity to show up for me in ways that I probably needed. Like, I wasn't explicit, and that's just that. But I do know, like, connecting it back to V's passing is that even when she was pregnant, she would rant, and she would be like, I am so tired of so-and-so hitting me up every day. How you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling? And it was the same way for me when I was grieving. Like, what's the point of this? Like, baby, 2 days has passed, a week has passed, I'm the same. And I think that's where it gets difficult for friends and loved ones to be supportive. But it's interesting how grief works, because it just, the grief kind of floods me randomly, and she just pops up in my head randomly. And I'll just get like really quiet and pensive. But that's really where I am as far as, you know, being 1 year post-op. I am so grateful to be alive. And then 1 year and 2 months since my friend's passing. It's so interesting how things just move, right? So after my surgery, my mom came in town. She stayed with us for a bit. And when I was feeling good, we went to DSW, and I found some heels, and those heels are so cute. Like, now I own like 4 pairs of them in different colors. And I found some heels, and I was like, when Bae and I go out to celebrate my 6-week post-op, because he was gonna take me out, like, I'm wearing these. And I never got to wear them. I wore a different pair of shoes when we went out, and I just got to wear them on the 1 year anniversary of me being rolled out from the hospital at my line sister's wedding. So yeah, it's just interesting how things happen. But anywho, that is all that I have for this video. It has been a long time coming, and I finally have, I guess, the emotional strength to allow myself to be vulnerable and to talk about this. So until next time.